Assalamualaikum and very good day to all of you. So today we will continue our class or our lecture on the next topic, which is temporary structures, including formwork and scaffolding. Okay. So as usual, without further delay, we will look at the outline for today's lecture. Okay. Slide boleh nampak kan?
Boleh.
Alright, okay. So semua clear? Okay, as usual, this is our lecture outlines. So we will have a quick check and the recall of the previous lecture. And then for today, I will divide the lecture into two parts, part 1 and part 2, whereby part 1 will be formwork and the other one for scaffolding, where both of these are temporary structures. Okay. Okay, so this is our quick check. So far we have covered until these three topics. The first one, overview, and then we proceed with the site layout and temporary structures. So basically, previous temporary structures is more on the any structures what we call yang kita plan during the earlier stage. Maksudnya any structures including the site office, guard post, apa yang kita dah belajar sebelum ni. So that one refers to these temporary structures. And for today, we will cover more on formwork and scaffolding. Okay, before we proceed to the next one, which is on building foundation and also building elements. Okay. So after that, we have covered for previous 2 weeks, we have covered on construction plants and machineries. So so far we have covered these 3 main topics. So hopefully all of you maksudnya can relate between each topic because later on for example lah, macam final exam, dia akan tanya satu, dia akan bagi contoh ni sebagai contoh. For example, there is a situation ataupun there is a case study. So in order for you to answer that question, you need to properly understand the fundamental and also able to relate between each topic. So maksudnya kena faham dan juga kena tahu untuk relate. Contohnya macam site layout dengan construction plant and machineries. So kena tahulah macam mana dia punya relation dan dia punya application. Okay. Okay, last week we have a Deepavali celebration, so we don't have any synchronous or online class. And then this is for today, which is on week 5. So as I mentioned just now, we will proceed to the next topic of temporary structures, consists of formwork, and then we will cover on scaffolding. Okay, so basically untuk topik ni saya dah rearrange dan juga saya dah update. Kalau nanti you all boleh compare to the previous lecture. Apa yang saya dah update kat sini, saya dah masukkan temporary structures sebab sebelum ni saya pun terlepas pandang untuk topik ni. And then in terms of duration ataupun weeks to be covered for my part, maybe akan extend seminggu ataupun 2 minggu after mid-sem break. Sebelum ni sampai week 7 je, tapi based on the balance of the topic that I need to cover for my part, so maybe I will cover until week 9 ataupun paling lambat ataupun paling lewat pun saya akan cover until week 10, and then Dr. Izzy will continue for the latter part. Okay. So saya rasa that's all regarding the topics. So far, anything that you want to ask or that you want to clarify regarding the topics? Ada apa-apa ke yang tak faham? Okay, berkenaan topik.
Okay, faham Doktor.
Okay, faham Alright. Yeah.
So the test on the week 10 is cover which topic or are you handle?
Pardon? Okay, regarding the test, sebenarnya dia punya dia punya minggu ataupun week ni pun saya akan confirm balik. So far saya plan masa minggu ke-10 ni ataupun lagi awal. And topics tu pun saya akan confirm lagi lepas ni. Saya akan update lagi. Okay ke?
Okay, okay.
Alright.
Thanks.
Okay. So basically siapa tadi Kelvin tanya ke siapa tadi? Saya.
Yeah.
Betul. Okay. So apa continue to this, okay, tak apalah untuk topik settle. Then kita continue untuk assessment ni. So far we have covered presentation, dah settle assignment, saya dah bagi. So hopefully all of you ni lah prepare and able to meet the deadlines, which is kalau tak silap saya 21st November, right? Dia punya ni kan deadline. And then the other the last assessment for my part, which is test, as being asked by Kelvin just now. So in terms of dia punya masa ataupun dia punya tarikh, saya akan confirm lagi kemudian. So far, maybe on week 10 kita akan ada test for my part ataupun for my topics. And then berkenaan topik yang akan cover in this test, kejap ya, macam first 3 topik ni kita dah takkan cover lah untuk test sebabnya dah cover under presentation and assignment 1. Okay, for the rest of the topic, bukan semua jugalah akan cover dalam test sebab some of the topics will be included in your final exam. Okay, so the details of the topic saya akan update lah kemudian. Okay. Alright, so saya rasa that's all regarding our quick check for topics and assessment. Hopefully ni lah untuk assignment 1 pun semua clear macam mana nak buat and then boleh submit sebelum deadline. Ni lah meet the deadline. Okay. Alright, so as usual this is our recall session which is for previous topic. Past 2 weeks, I think, yeah. Week 3 on construction plant and machineries. So, anyone would like to recall or would like to share anything that you remember for our previous class? Ada ke? Siapa-siapa? Sebab this previous topic on construction plants and machineries is actually straightforward. Okay. Reason ini Fadila bagi tahu kat sini berkenaan reason to increase productivity and efficiency. Betul lah, maksudnya penggunaan plants and machineries will help to increase the productivity and efficiency of the works because rather than we doing it manually, we try to construct the works using machineries. Okay, betul. So selain tu apa lagi, sebab topik ni sebenarnya hari tu agak simple dan dia quite straightforward. So saya harap semua boleh ni lah remember the the main contohnya yang paling penting kat sini dia punya jenis lah, jenis plant and machineries and dia punya kegunaan. So that's all maksudnya included in your assignment. Okay, group assignment. Okay, selain daripada tu, alright, selection factor, betul lah. Selection factor pun memang sangat penting. Ni sebagai contoh lah, kalaulah ada soalan berkenaan plant and machineries, selection factor pun boleh jadi salah satu potential subtopic to be asked during your final exam. Bagi contoh, dia dah bagi macam situation atau dia bagi simple project ataupun case study. So kat situ dia dah bagi contohnya construction of simple office ataupun small office building. So kat situ dia akan tanya which ataupun what kind of plants and machinery suitable to construct that mention project. Maksudnya apa plant and machineries yang sesuai untuk digunakan atau sama ada nak beli atau nak sewa untuk construct that project according to the activities ataupun dia punya ni lah jenis-jenis kerja yang berkaitan dengan projek tersebut. So that's why saya dah mention tadi, you all need to able to apply the fundamental to the practical part. Okay, so it is easier for all of you to answer the question correctly lah. Okay, ni ada juga apa ni, share daripada Intan, siapa ni, Amira, Muhammad Najib. Betul lah, selection factor. And then we have advantages and disadvantages of buying and hiring. Yang ni pun cuba ingat dan juga cuba faham dia punya advantages and disadvantages, yang mana dia punya pro and cons for each nak buy ataupun kita nak hire, nak beli ataupun nak sewa. Okay, type of site work. And then we have reason to use construction plant and machineries, dia interrelated lah seperti mana yang saya cakap tadi. Okay, so saya rasa so far all of you able to grab the main idea for the topic ataupun the main content of the topic. So hopefully later on all of you are able to remember and also to apply all of these fundamental principle to the application according to the ni lah given situation. Okay, so the next one, nanti saya akan update dekat recall punya part ni. Okay, terima kasih semua yang respon, and hopefully the rest of you pun able to remember and also to ni lah jawab any given question. Okay, so this is actually our first part for today's topic for lecture week 5. Okay, so we will cover on the first temporary structure, which is formwork. So as usual, this is our list of subtopic to be covered today. Okay, starting from overview of formwork until the causes of formwork failure. Okay, nanti we try to go through one by one. Okay, semua okay?
Okay, Doctor.
Alright, okay, thank you. So hopefully all of you will bear with me until the end of today's class, okay? Alright, so for the first part, for the formwork as a temporary structure, so basically this is orang kata dia punya ni lah definition ataupun dia punya description on what actually formwork is. Okay, so formwork is referring to mold or open box like container into which wet concrete is poured and compacted. Maksudnya dia satu acuan untuk form the concrete, especially the orang kata in situ reinforced concrete. Okay, dia kena ada, sebab kita dah nak cast the concrete, so for sure we need the mold itself. Okay, and it necessary for in situ reinforced concrete. And then the other thing ataupun the other term, we also nanti kita akan jumpa juga term fast work, which is referring to supporting structures holding the forms in place. Maksudnya any support or any dia punya kayu yang tahan dia punya mold refers to the fast work. And then kenapa kita cakap dia sebagai temporary structures? Because basically formwork ni kita akan remove once concrete has formed ataupun hardened. Once the concrete tu dah matured and dia dah form ataupun hardened, kita akan remove lah formwork, and depending on the situation ataupun dia punya quality, we try to reuse the same formwork. Okay, later kita akan cover lah on that part. And then sometimes formwork ni juga even dia temporary, tapi ada setengah dia can it can be permanent to strengthen the structure and improve durability. So later I will share regarding this will briefly share regarding this permanent formwork. So basically selalunya precast ni lah, precast mold ke apa, dia akan jadi permanent lah, will be part of the structure itself. Okay, lepas tu okay, and then we will proceed to the basic requirements of formwork. So basically these three are the basic requirements of formwork. The first one is quality, and then safety, and also economy. So these three factors ataupun requirements are required for the formwork erection ataupun formwork ni lah installation. Okay, so in terms of quality, dia ada dia punya sub requirements, and similar to the rest of these two requirements, safety and economy. So we try to go through briefly for each of the basic requirements. Okay, because as I mentioned previously, all of these factors ataupun dia punya basic requirements maybe we need to relate ataupun we need to betul lah, kita akan relate to the actual application nanti. Okay. Okay, for the first one, which is for the first basic requirements of quality, it covers ataupun it requires several sub requirements such as accuracy, rigidity, watertight joints, and also surface finishing. Okay, in terms of accuracy, it's very essential lah ataupun it's very important sebabnya the designer terutamanya especially the designer need to specify allowable dimensional tolerance in order for the workers ataupun for the person in charge to produce accurate shape, size and alignment. Okay, for example kat sini accuracy ni kalau kita nak buat square shape ni column ataupun beam, so maksudnya formwork tu kena betul-betul accurate in shape, so later on it will produce the right shape that according to the design and specification. Sama juga in term of size, kita kena tahu dia punya size of column ataupun size of beam berapa. Contohnya 500 ke 500 by 500. So maksudnya kena kena match to the design size ataupun specified size. Sama juga dengan alignment. Okay, all of this relate to the detail design and also to the specification. Okay, for the rigidity ni dia punya the rigidity of the formwork itself in order to provide adequate support in order to resist any distortion during concreting. So for sure we need to have formwork yang strong and also safe in dia punya condition. Sebab dia kena sebelum concrete pouring, kita kena make sure that formwork is strong enough to to receive the concrete pouring. Kalau tak memang akan dia akan cause failure juga. So that's why in order for us to have a good rigidity, we need to provide adequate support, tie and braces. Okay, nanti kita akan tengoklah parts ataupun dia punya component of the formworks. Okay, sama juga in terms of quality, we need to consider the watertight factors because kalau kita punya formwork tu ada dia punya leakage ataupun any kebocoran, it will cause loss of water, cement and also material itself, dia punya fines tu semua. So we try to have a good watertight joints so that to ensure the good concrete strength ataupun to avoid honeycombs and uneven color of the concrete. Okay, so all of these are related to the quality. And the last one for the surface finishing, selalunya kita untuk timber formwork kita akan apply mold oils ataupun release agent in order at the end it is easier to remove the formwork and also to ensure good and even surface contact. So kalau kita dia punya friction between formwork and also concrete surface tu okay, so dia tak ada masalah lah dari segi masa kita nak remove the formwork later on. Okay, so it will produce even and good surface condition lah, and also surface finishing. Okay, okay semua. That one regarding the quality. Okay, so I will proceed to the next one for the safety factor. Safety, as we all already know, safety is actually a top priority in our in any construction project. So maksudnya kita nak construct kita nak buat concreting ke, kita nak prepare formwork, any works or any activities, we need to consider safety as our top priority. Okay. Okay. For this topic ataupun for this requirements of formwork, in terms of safety, we need to consider ataupun we need to concern on load bearing capacity, safe working condition, and also work efficiency. Okay, in terms of load bearing capacity, as I mentioned just now, it is essential ataupun it is very important for us to avoid any formwork failure. So that's why the formwork need to be able to withstand load of wet concrete, worker, and also equipment or machinery. So the installed formwork need to strong enough to cater all of this load. Okay. The other thing is that regarding the safe working condition. So it is essential, or it is compulsory to provide safe working condition, so that we try to avoid any accident or any failure of the formwork on the construction site. Okay. In order to do that, we need to provide adequate bracing and bracing and also mud seal. Mud seal ni dia lebih kepada dia punya ni lah, base plate. Okay, to to carry the load to the ground, the load of the formwork and also the related worker ataupun equipment lah. And then we also safety factors, also safety requirements also related to the work efficiency. Okay, we need to check the working procedure and method in order to ensure that all the procedure and all the methods are safe to be conducted, and then it is essential to ensure higher output and productivity. Kalau macam tak ada case, maksudnya tak ada any accident ataupun any failure during the formwork erection, so that one will not affect lah kita punya plan time ataupun kita punya kita punya time and cost for the specific activity tu. Kalau tak, if time and cost affected, so for sure dia punya output memang akan ni lah juga, akan affected. Okay. That one for the second requirement, basic requirement. And then for the last one is economy. Economy relates to the cost itself. So we need to have standardization, simplification, and also we need to consider the reusability. Macam saya dah mention tadi, berkenaan penggunaan semula dia punya formwork. Okay. So all of these requirements ataupun sub requirements are quite straightforward lah. Sebab macam in terms of standardization, we try to design identical base spacing, and also we try to standardize the column and beam sizes, so that one will be economic. However, all of this depending on the detailed design or the detailed specification as required by the project. And then simplification, we need to ensure easy installation, maksudnya assembling and also disassembling of the formwork, and ensure easy handling size of formwork in order to reduce the number of labor and time. So the complexity of the project itself will affect the number of labor required, and also for sure will affect the time and cost of the project. Okay. Reusability ni lebih kepada penggunaan semula dia punya formwork. So in order for us to reuse the formwork for several times, we need to use durable material and design for ease of striking without damage. Maksud striking ni removal lah. Kita kena design for ease of removal without damage to the formwork. So that one will increase the number of usage times. Okay. Saya rasa that's all for the basic requirements. Okay, so far okay semua? Kalau ada apa-apa tak faham boleh je nak tanya. And kalau ada apa-apa
Okay.
nak share pun boleh. Okay Okay, thank you Najib. Okay. Right, so sebelum saya proceed to the next subtopic, I would like to ask macam selalulah nak tanya juga, adakah siapa-siapa yang berpengalaman, maksudnya ada pengalaman yang berkaitan dengan formwork sebelum ni lah, maksudnya nak design formwork ke, nak inspect the formwork itself ke, ada ke during your ni?
Ada doktor.
Ada? Najib
Ya doktor.
Okay, so
Saya masa intern dulu saya kena inspect formwork. Saya dekat bahagian inspection formwork. Lepas
Okay.
tu ada kontraktor buat kerja tak betul. Jadi formwork tu dia terbuka waktu nak install konkrit.
Maksudnya formwork tu fail lah kan?
Ya.
Tu untuk elemen apa? Kolom ke beam ke apa tu?
Kolom.
So macam mana?
Kolom doktor. Jadi suruh jadi saya suruh kontraktor tu buat balik install yang lain dulu. Yang tu nanti buat kemudian.
Okay, tu projek apa Cik? Construction apa
Itu
tu?
kena tambah kayu yang untuk support kolom tu, tak nak bagi dia terpecah.
Terbuka. Alright. Okay, tu projek apa? Construction
Masjid.
Masjid. Okay.
Masjid.
Alright. So maksudnya dia punya option maksudnya
Dekat puncak alam.
Okay. So minta kontraktor tu redo lah, maksudnya buat balik formwork tu tapi proceed to the next ni lah. Maksudnya next column je lah. Kan? Okay. Alright. So as apa yang Najib share tadi berkenaan ni lah formwork failure, which is specifically for the column formwork. So nanti kita akan tengok juga jenis-jenis formwork. So that one memang relate lah dengan apa yang kita dah apa yang saya dah share tadi. So maksudnya yang tu kemungkinan besar memang due to ni lah inadequate support ataupun braces lah, selalunya memang akan menyebabkan formwork tu terbuka ataupun formwork tu terbalik ke kan, jatuh semua collapse ke, memang due to inadequate support or braces. Okay. So apa tadi Najib? Thank you for your sharing. Okay. Okay, so now we will proceed to the types of formwork, which is categorized based on material itself. Okay, so here I have categorized to 6 types or 6 category. Timber, metal, plastic, laminated paper, fiber cement material, and also precast concrete unit. Okay, so we try to look at to this type of material, to this type of formwork. Okay. Okay, for the first one we have timber. So timber ataupun kayu ni selalunya formwork yang kebiasaannya normally ataupun usually found on in construction site. Okay, yang kita dah familiar ataupun kita dah selalu tengok. So that's why it is a common type of formwork, versatile and also readily available. Okay. So for the first type timber ni dia ada advantages and disadvantages dia jugalah. Advantages dia lebih kepada custom manufacturing. It can be customized into large size panels ataupun kalau nak buat curve shape, memang kita boleh buat pre-customized ni lah, formwork. And then usually it can be reusable for many times, and it is also stiff enough to resist deflection and distortion. Okay. However, there are some disadvantages for this kind of timber formwork. It is liable for to damage at corners and edges. Selalunya dia dekat bahagian hujung tu lah, dia punya bucu atau dia punya corners. Kebanyakannya bila kita dah once we want to remove ataupun we want to disassemble the formwork, dia akan pecah ataupun dia akan crack at the corners ataupun at the edges. And sometimes it also happen to be quicker wear out and have greater chance of leakage, especially for board. Sebab timber kita boleh categorize into two types, plywood and also board timber. And in terms of the absorbency ataupun dia punya capability untuk absorb the water in the concrete content, it varies. So that's why it dia punya disadvantages, variability of absorbency. Okay. Alright. That one for timber. Okay, this one also macam saya dah mention tadi, we have plywood and board timber. So basically nanti you all boleh ni lah cuba go through the details for each type ataupun each category of timber formwork. Plywood dia dah tulis kat sini dia punya variety of thickness, dia punya range of thickness kat sini, common sheet size and also yang penting dia punya ni lah coating. Sebab kita kena make sure right coating to be used, because previously I have explained on the watertight joints. So that one relate to this coating. And then dia punya ni plywood will produce smooth and even concrete surface and also water resistant. Okay, coating ni dia relate lah dengan water resistant juga. Okay. And then for the board, it quite similar to the plywood. However, it varies in terms of thickness and also width. Width of the board. And then at the bottom part, show the usage or application of the timber board. Okay, so nanti try to go through one by one and also do your own revision and also your self-study to obtain more ni lah information regarding timber formwork. Okay. And then we cover on the metal. Metal formwork ni lebih kepada besi lah ataupun steel. Okay. Usually it consists of stiff metal sheet and edges. Okay. Kebanyakannya adalah proprietary system, mechanically handle and self-climbing formwork. Nanti saya akan tunjuk formwork system yang menggunakan metal formwork. And then ada dia punya ni lah, dia punya sistem sama ada manual ataupun dia memang dah ada specific sistem macam yang ni, self-climbing formwork. And then untuk metal we have steel section as a frame for plywood sheeting, and then steel plate kebiasaannya can be used to replace plywood sheeting for repeated use. And the other component we will have steel panel varies in size and shapes for the convenience of other combination. And yang paling penting untuk metal formwork kita akan guna where high stress occur. So kalau memang kita perlukan there is a requirement for high stress to occur, and also for the heavy load, we will go for this kind of formwork as compared to the previous one. Okay. Sama juga berkenaan dia punya advantages and disadvantages. For sure, for the metal, it should be stiff and durable type. And similar to the timber, it can be reusable for many times. Okay, lepas tu kalau dalam kategori metal, we have aluminium type. It can be used for lightweight construction. Okay, because as we know, aluminium ni dia quite lighter than the other kind of steel. And then for the disadvantages, kebiasaannya kalau besi, for sure it's subjected to chemical reaction with fresh concrete. Okay, sometimes dia boleh juga berkarat sebab dia ada chemical reaction. So it depending on the kita punya treatment ataupun kita punya quality of the metal itself. And all of this may cause adverse effect to the concrete properties. Okay, so we need properly consider all the related factors to avoid all of these problems. Okay. Okay, sometimes kita ada juga plastic type formwork, tapi yang ni kurang sikit dia punya penggunaan sebab kalau kita tengok kat Malaysia sendiri pun kita go for previous two, we have timber, kayu dan juga we have steel ataupun metal. Plastik ni satunya kalau kita tengok kat sini disadvantages dia quite expensive. Macam yang ni GRP adalah glass reinforced plastic. So it's quite expensive as compared to the other two. Okay, however it consists of several advantages because it can be rigid or flexible. Lepas tu as in terms of dia punya weight, dia very light as compared to metal and also timber yang awal-awal tadi kayu. And then it pose high impact resistant, good resistant to score and corrosion. Yang paling penting dia akan able to produce high quality face finishes and easy to form special profile or shape. Okay, that's the advantages of plastic, which is the plastic formwork. Okay, so apart from GRP, kita kebiasaannya ada juga jenis PVC, polyvinyl kot, saya tak salah, polyvinyl plastic type, polyvinyl chloride PVC, okay, ataupun GRP. Tapi GRP ni quite inilah expensive. Okay, alright. So the rest of the nanti boleh ni lah, boleh cuba do your own study and search for related reference regarding this type of formwork according to the material. And then the next one we have types ataupun category of formworks based on the building elements. Okay, these four are the common ataupun basic building element, which is this element kita akan ada later ni lah, next topic for this building element. So before we proceed to this topic of building element, we will need to know the formwork for each of the element. So we have here, we have column, beam, floor or slab. Kalau kita tengok selalunya orang akan guna ni lah term slab instead of floor, tapi kebanyakannya akan guna slab, tapi sebenarnya dia sama je slab ataupun floor. And then we have wall here. Okay, so this is just figure ataupun illustration lah. And for sure saya pun rasa semua dah familiar. And in our daily routine pun macam kita dah selalu nampak, lagi-lagi kalau travel ke mana-mana lah kita punya perjalanan tu, kalau jumpa construction site, for sure kebanyakannya kita akan nampak ni lah formwork kalau construction project at the earlier stage. Maksudnya kalau dah later stage, kebanyakan formwork ataupun scaffolding semua dia dah removekan from the site. Ni masa earlier stage daripada earthwork, then bila dah naik substructure, superstructure, for sure we will have all of these temporary structures. Okay, So this is basically the formwork for column. So basically formwork for column it's a vertical formwork, and then beam quite similar to the column. However, it is in horizontal position as maksudnya according to the building element itself. Okay, untuk for my part, maksudnya kita akan cover secara brief berkenaan dia punya types of the formwork according to the building elements. Tapi later on, once Dr. Easy cover her part, you will need to do the estimating and do the calculation regarding this formwork for beam, column, and so on. Okay. Alright, so this is the formwork for floor or slab. So basically it's relates ataupun dia pun combine to the formwork for beam. And the last one we have formwork for ni wall. Okay, so this is a concrete wall, so we need to have the formwork to construct the wall. Okay, so kita dah 245. So before we proceed, perlukan break ke nak proceed je? Okay. Semua okay ke?
Okay, doktor.
Okay. So do we need short break ataupun just proceed for the
Boleh.
apa?
Break boleh doktor.
Boleh kita break sekejap, maybe dalam we will continue at 2:55. Maksudnya 2:55 kita masuk balik.
Boleh doktor.
Okay, sebab we have several other subtopics to be covered. Alright. Okay, sekejap lagi kita sambung. Thank you. Okay, we will continue. Boleh dengar ke? Okay, boleh Alright. So without further delay, we will continue to the next part of our topic lah, of our subtopic on apa tadi? Formwork, okay? Which is one of the temporary structures. Okay, the next one we will cover on formwork ties. Okay, ties ataupun pengikat ni function dia to align two faces of formwork lining ataupun to ni lah surface of timber ataupun steel formwork. Kita nak align dia punya kayu ataupun steel tu sendiri to form the shape accurately and also to ensure the right dimension and also the right size for the column ataupun any other building elements. Okay, so ties ni dia can be divided into two types. The first one non-recoverable and the other one is recoverable. Ni ataupun the other words kita boleh juga guna reusable ataupun yang satu lagi reusable. Okay. So maksudnya mana-mana ties yang tak boleh diguna semula, dia will be remains embedded in the concrete. So dia punya example adalah snap, coil and stud rod ties. And on the other hand, for the reusable formwork ties, the entire system can be reused. Usually the common types ataupun common example for these reusable formwork ties such as taper, threaded and also anchor ties. Okay. So I will show you the example for these ties. Okay, for the first category, this is the illustration ataupun dia punya figure lah. We have snap ties here, we have coil and also stud rod ties ataupun dia panggil juga shipboard. Okay, yang ni maksudnya tak boleh ni lah guna semula. Macam yang ni boleh contohnya taper, threaded bar and the other one as I mentioned just now is anchor tie. Okay, so nanti for additional apa information, nanti bolehlah cari additional reference ataupun information by your own. Okay, try to compare each of the formwork types based on its category. Okay, so we will proceed to the next one, which is formwork system. Alright, formwork system macam yang saya dah mention previously. Okay. Formwork system ni refers to the special formwork constructed as a system. Maksudnya dia punya formwork tu dia dah ada dia punya apa specified system whereby it is proprietary system which is usually made of metal and requires machinery for handling. So kebanyakan kalau formwork system dia akan menggunakan metal ataupun steel lah. Maksudnya dia ada menggunakan besi instead of kayu. And then proper selection of the system is critical because it will affect the time and cost of the project. So penggunaan formwork system is depending on the plan time and also kita punya ni lah schedule and also the for sure the cost ataupun dia punya ni lah budget for the project. Okay. Selalunya formwork system akan digunakan for the complicated ataupun complex works as compared to the simple construction project. Alright. Prefabricated formwork system may also improve construction efficiency by saving time and cost. Ni sama juga, it's depending on the scope, sizes and of the project itself. Kalau project tu contohnya complex project ataupun dia punya large project, lepas tu dia dah apply ataupun dia menggunakan this formwork system which is suitable for their project, so it will help to improve construction efficiency ataupun productivity. Alright, in terms of types of formwork system, here we have 4 formwork system types. Such as flying, column climbing, and also tunnel formwork. Okay, so I will share the example lah for each of these formwork system. Okay, for the first one, we have flying formwork. Kalau kita tengok kat sini, as the name mentioned, it is flying because it is being lifted by the cranes. Usually tower crane lah yang akan angkat this flying formwork. It's macam ni, kalau kita tengok dia lebih kepada mega ataupun large project lah. Kalau macam just a small office building ataupun small construction, we just use the conventional formwork instead of formwork system. Okay, it consists of large section of prefabricated formwork panels, and the other thing is that it's more economical for repetitive construction. Ni kalau kita nak buat macam residential units, macam apartment ataupun high-rise building which is consists of few phases ataupun few blocks, so it's quite economical to be used for that kind of project. Okay, the next one we have column formwork. Column formwork ni dia lebih kepada adjustable frame according to column size. So kalau kita tengok gambar yang kat sini, yang merah ni, dia punya frame it's adjustable. Maksudnya dia boleh adjust in according to the dimension of the column. Maksudnya dia punya sizing, kita nak berapa, 200.5 ataupun 500 mm, kita boleh adjust lah accordingly, which is dia quite flexible. Okay, so kalau kita tengok kat sini just a simple operation system, we have this figure number 1, 2 and 3. So for the number 1, kalau kita tengok kat sini, once dia punya column formwork ni being lifted and placed to the specific point ataupun specific location for the construction. So maksudnya macam biasalah kita dah place dekat satu-satu point, and then we pour the concrete and wait for the concrete to being hardened and achieve dia punya ni lah, maksudnya concrete tu dah sepenuhnya matured, and then we will slacken off the column spanner and open first column frame macam ni, first figure, and then we will release the second frame from the concrete yang ni. Dia sebab dia by panel, so and it is adjustable, so it is easier for ni lah assemble and also disassemble of this apa orang panggil column formwork. Dia similar to the previous one, apa tadi, flying formwork, because we need apa? We need crane, suitable crane to hoist and lift the formwork itself. And the last one, nanti dah siap, kita akan suspend formwork from crane ataupun by using crane and shift to the next location. Macam ni kan kita ada apa, connecting ties kat sini to ni lah to shift ataupun to move this column formwork to the other location ataupun point of construction. Okay. And then the third one, we have climbing formwork. Climbing formwork ni pun selalunya untuk large project. For this, we have apa, retracted bracket, allow the worker to work safely within the protection of the formwork. So maksudnya throughout the process, apa dia punya formwork ni akan climb up, maksudnya akan panjat ke atas lah. Maksudnya throughout the process, so contohnya dia start dari bawah macam ni kan, start dari bawah, and then dia part by part ataupun section by section lah. Kalau dia dah siap the lower part, and then dia punya formwork akan climb out, akan ni lah, bergerak ke atas. Okay. And then ni lah, dia allow workers to work within the space. Alright. So that one regarding the climbing formwork. And the last category of formwork system, we have tunnel formwork. So tunnel formwork ni, it refers to the construction of wall and slab which is being cast in single operation. Maksudnya dia dah ada siap-siap tunnel ataupun box formwork ni untuk construct the wall and also the slab. Okay. So by using this system, it will apa? It will reduce the construction time, and then so for sure will save the ni lah, save the time. And single operation ni selalunya kita akan refer kepada monolithic construction which meets the requirement of building codes for earthquake zone. Maksudnya this kind of apa, construction method meets the basic requirements of the building codes. Okay. Tapi yang ni apa, kita jarang lah tengok kalau untuk local punya project. Okay. Saya rasa that's the 4 types of formwork system. Alright, so before we proceed to the next subtopic, so far clear semua? Okay ke?
Okay, doktor.
Okay. Alright, so kalau macam selalulah, kalau ada anything to ask ataupun anything to share, boleh ni lah, boleh apa, tulis kat chat ataupun just interrupt during the ni lah, during my explanation. Okay. So hopefully semua masih okay lah sebab kita halfway lagi ni, halfway lebih kurang. And then the next one we will proceed to the selection factors. Okay, selection factors macam selalu lah, dia lebih kepada apa, principle, dia lebih kepada fundamental parts. However, we try to apa, try to remember, try to apa, inilah relate all of these factor to be used in the actual ataupun practical use. Okay. Okay, selection factors of formwork. Basically here we have 6 factors such as construction cost, method, essential resources, safety, reusability and other requirements. Okay, so kat sini just apa, dia punya ni lah summary yang saya dah share kat sini, dia punya main point So for the further explanation ataupun elaboration, boleh refer to any related sources ataupun reference. Okay. As long as apa ni, you all boleh recall atau boleh remember the apa dia punya main point. So nanti dia punya explanation, as long as it is logical and apa dia punya tu logic dan acceptable, then I will give apa the mark accordingly lah. Alright. Okay, the next one we will cover briefly on the general safety measures for the formwork installation. Okay. Sebab anything that we want to construct, that we want to conduct, we need to consider the safety factors. Okay, for the formwork erection ataupun installation, we need to make sure that we use only approved material as in specification, so that by having ataupun by using approved material, we try to reduce the potential of potential accident ataupun potential ni lah failure. And we need to make sure to install strong and properly supported formworks. Yeah. And then the other safety measures, we need to conduct precasting inspection to check the formwork stability, install perimeter barrier to limit vehicle or visitor. And then the rest just kalau kita tengok dia kita punya dia punya measures ni just a common ataupun kita familiar, cuma yang paling penting kita kena ingat lah, so that we able to apply, we able to answer accordingly. Okay. Yang penting juga kat sini, kalau regarding the formwork, we need to ensure full concrete hardening and development prior to formwork removal. Sebabnya ada juga case failure happen due to concrete tu dia belum keras dan juga belum cukup dia punya tempoh maturity, and that one will cause building collapse ataupun structural ataupun portion of that structure to collapse. Okay, so later I will also share regarding the formwork failure. Alright, and then regarding the design of formwork, we will cover on the basic ataupun principal part of the design. We will not cover in detail for each of the design. Okay, the detail calculation we cover on the latter part by Dr. Izzy for build up rates and taking off. Okay, selalunya design of formwork relates to the design of elements such as column, beam, slab or wall constructed using timber formwork, either plywood or board timber board. Yang paling penting kita kena ingat dia punya design principles. We need to ensure adequate strength to resist failure, either in bending or shear, and ensure that the formwork do not deflect excessively when forms are filled. Maksudnya during the concrete pouring, formwork to able to cater the load and make sure there is no excessive deflection. Because all of this, kalau kita tak properly consider ataupun tak properly design, it will cause formwork failure, and that one yang kita nak kita nak prevent. Okay. So there are several structural requirements according to the standards ataupun building codes. So here with listed the structural requirements. Ni dia punya list list of the building codes lah ataupun dia punya standard. So nanti kalau kata nak tahu dengan detail, boleh go through one by one lah for each of these listed requirement. Okay. And then after the designs of formwork, we have Okay, yang ni relate kepada yang tadilah yang saya dah mention berkenaan period to remove the formwork. Okay, we need to wait for the concrete to being hardened. Baru kita boleh ni lah, dipanggil formwork striking. Striking ni refer kepada removal ataupun removing time of the formwork. Okay, so basically striking or removal of formwork depends on the concrete strength, type of concrete, type of structural member or element, and air temperature around the element. So according to this table, dia dah specify lah one by one dia punya ni minimum striking time according to the surface temperature of concrete. And then kat sini kita ada few types of structural member for the formwork, such as column, beam, sides and wall. We have the duration either in hour ataupun we need to wait for several days. Okay, macam yang kat sini props to beam soffit. If the surface temperature is only 2 degrees Celsius, we need to wait around 1 month ataupun 30 days. Okay. Later, if necessary, we need to refer to this table for formwork striking ataupun formwork removal. Okay. Sama juga yang ni, dia lebih kepada removal. Sorry. Okay, yang ni as a continuation, it's more on the assessment method. Maksudnya macam mana kita nak assess in order for us to know the concrete, adakah dah cukup dia punya dah betul-betul hardened or not. Okay, basically there are several methods ataupun measures lah yang kita boleh apply. The first one, we have cubes cured alongside, tables ataupun dia punya method lah menggunakan tables, and then we can use thermocouples, coma probe or Windsor probe, and also we can try to conduct break-off test. Okay, all of these assessment method have its own advantages and disadvantages. So later on you can study lah, maksudnya go through each of these assessment method and try to compare all of this method because some of the methods quite simple and the other vice versa lah, dia quite ni. Sebab macam kalau kita tengok kat sini, Windsor probe, dia lebih kepada advantages dia rapid test. However, at the same time, the disadvantages is that it will damage the surface. Okay, so depending on the on decision ataupun depending on the project scope, kalau kita boleh menggunakan Windsor probe, which is will damage the surface, then we will proceed with this. If we want to protect the surface, we can go for the other types of assessment methods. Okay. Alright. Before we proceed to the next subtopic, is it clear so far? Okay ke semua? Senyap ni harapnya semua masih okay lah. Okay Ni dah makin petang ni, harapnya semua tak mengantuk lah. Okay. So the next one, we proceed to the ni causes. Macam yang saya dah cakap tadi, there are several types of formwork failure, and for sure we have dia punya causes lah, apa dia punya factor atau penyebab formwork failure tu sendiri. So kebiasaannya ni 6 ni macam selalulah dia just orang panggil ni, dekat sini saya dah summarize dia punya point. So later maybe ada additional factor ataupun causes which can be quite similar ataupun overlap to this. So at least all of you need to remember the ni lah main point. Maksudnya once you remember the main point, so it is easier for you to proceed with the explanation. Okay. Okay, the first causes ataupun common causes of formwork failure, we have improper stripping and shore removal. Maksudnya tadi in terms of dia punya ni lah striking ataupun stripping, kadang-kadang dipanggil juga yang paling common kita akan panggil formwork removal lah. So kalau improper removal of the formwork will high possibility will cause the formwork failure. Okay, so that's why we need to properly wait for the concrete to being hardened within the required period. Contohnya kalau dia dah macam apa tadi, kalau kita refer to the previous table, if we need to wait for 30 days, so we need to do so. If not, it will affect the concrete condition, and at the end it will cause formwork failure. Alright. Okay, this one for improper stripping. And then yang paling famous ataupun common causes of formwork failure is inadequate bracing and support. Yang ni seperti mana yang tadi Najib share, macam based on his experience on construction site. Okay, formwork untuk kolom terbuka ataupun ni lah. Kadang-kadang kalau terbuka je okay, ada setengah tu dia terus collapse. Which mainly due to the inadequate ni bracing ataupun dia punya ties lah dekat keliling ataupun dia punya support. So that's the main ataupun the most common causes. Alright. And then we have high vibration level, unstable soil, and then the rest we have inadequate control of concrete placement. The last one we have lack of attention of formwork details. Okay, so actually I have prepare kat sini for each of the courses we have the brief explanation. Okay, I will show you the explanation for each courses. So for the detail reading, you may do by your own. Okay, so for the first one, improper stripping, kat sini macam yang saya dah mention tadi, careless practice in reshoring ataupun removal of the formwork itself can produce catastrophic result. Ni yang dah maksudnya lama punya ni lah project which can be kita punya ni lah macam moral of the story juga kita boleh refer. Kalau kat sini contoh based on case study in Bellis Crossroad in Virginia, dia adalah construction for the high-rise building which is apartment 26 stories. Dia collapse ataupun fail due to the too early ni shore removal ataupun part of the formwork removal. Yang ni. So that's why we need to properly consider this factor in order for us to prevent potential failure which is can be big failure lah, catastrophic ni event. Okay. Okay, nanti boleh cuba Google Bellis Crossroad ni, one of the orang panggil dia punya ni lah bukan famous antara yang accident yang ni jugalah berkenaan formwork formwork removal which affect the whole, kita tengok kat sini kan, affect the whole level ataupun the whole building. Because the failure, kalau ikutkan based on this story, the failure happen at the 24th floor which is sebenarnya dah nak siap kan, tapi dia fail occur on the 24th floor, maksudnya at the upper floors and affect the whole building and trigger collapse of the entire building. Okay, so nanti boleh ni lah cuba Google. Alright. Sama juga yang ni pun untuk second courses we have actual case study. Nanti boleh juga tengok secara detail kalau mana-mana yang ni nak tahu dengan lebih in detail. Cuba tengok New York Coliseum formwork collapse. Ni pun disebabkan inadequate bracing and support. So kalau kita tengok kat sini gambar black and white ni kan, dia punya formwork tu fail. Okay, sekejap. Okay, sorry ya. Okay, so next we will continue to the next courses, high vibration level. Yang ni you all cuba go through lah. Tapi basically high vibration level ni usually caused by passing traffic, movement of workers and equipment on the formwork. So any movement ataupun any inilah pergerakan yang menyebabkan vibration to the formwork itself. Kalau excessive ataupun high level of vibration will affect the formwork condition. Okay. Lepas tu dia ada sources ataupun cause of the vibration selalunya to concrete vibrator sebab kita akan menggunakan concrete vibrator untuk consolidate the concrete. So we need to properly consider this factor because kadang-kadang faktor yang kita terlepas pandang yang tu kadang-kadang akan menyebabkan accident ataupun akan menyebabkan inilah failure of the formwork. Okey, seterusnya ni lebih kepada unstable soil under mud seal. Yang ni lebih kepada condition ataupun foundation condition. Okay, kalau we have unstable soil ataupun uneven soil surface, so it will affect the stability of the formwork. So nanti kita boleh tengoklah apa dia punya ni sub explanation for these courses. So that's why anything we need to have safe, adequately braced and constructed formwork, which is should be installed to carry all load to solid ground. Okay, solid ground through vertical members. So kalau apa dia punya formwork tu install dekat unstable soil, so for sure dia punya load transfer will cannot be completed properly. So at the end it will affect the stability of this formwork dan dia akan collapse lah, selalunya akan collapse. Okay. And the rest ni juga dia relates dengan unstable soil. So nanti try go through one by one. The next causes we have inadequate control of concrete placement. Yang ni pun kalau ikutkan among the common causes for the formwork failure. Sebab contohnya ni kita punya mold, kita punya formwork. Contohnya formwork untuk yang ni beam. Okay, we need to control the concrete temperature and also rate of vertical pouring of the concrete into the formwork. Okay. Maksudnya rate of the concrete pouring tak boleh terlalu laju ataupun too strong of the pouring because it will influence the development of lateral pressure. So at the end kalau kita punya formwork tu pun dah lack of strength ataupun kurang kuat and then tiba-tiba dia dapat high pressure, so that one will cause formwork tu akan terbuka ataupun formwork tu akan collapse. Okay. In certain condition, if the temperature drops during the construction operation, so rate of vertical placement often kita kena slow down jugalah. Maksudnya kalau tiba-tiba temperature tu drops daripada panas tiba-tiba dah teduh dah inilah dia punya temperature drop. So we need to slow down in order to prevent a build up lateral pressure, overloading the form. Okay. So yang paling penting kita nak avoid the overloading. Okay. Lepas tu sama juga yang ni lebih pada unbalanced loading and consequent failure may happen due to improper rate and order of concrete placing on horizontal surface or curved roof. So all of these are related to inadequate control of concrete placement. So we need to consider properly in terms of how to control the rate of vertical placement so that it will not affect the condition ataupun stability of the formwork. Okay. The last one for the causes of formwork failure, we have lack of attention of formwork details. Okay, macam yang with listed several sub-factors berkenaan these causes such as small differences in assembly details which may cause local weakness or overstress loading to form failure. Maksudnya just a small difference ataupun small problems, tapi at the end daripada local ataupun sekecil-kecil dia punya failure, it may develop to a bigger failure which is may affect the whole structure. Okay, for example kita insufficient nailing. So kalau insufficient nailing, nanti tendency untuk formwork tu terbuka memang sangat tinggi. Lepas tu loss locking device, macam in terms of dia punya ties kan, dia punya pengikat tu loose. So that one also will cause atau may cause the concrete failure. Formwork failure. And then in terms of anchorage ataupun dia punya support in terms of provision to prevent rotation of beam should be adequate lah to avoid any potential failure. And then ini dah banyak kali kita mention berkenaan bracing and tying. Okay, we need to consider all of this to avoid the potential failure. Okay, so I think that's all for the causes of formwork failure. Okay, next one. Okay, so saya pun tak perasan we have another break time. So yang ni sebenarnya before that's all for the first part of our lecture, which is on formwork. Later on we will continue to scaffolding. So just proceed Okay ke semua?
Okay, doktor.
Okay So up until now we have covered on the first part for our today's class, which is on formwork. So later on if you have anything to anything yang tak faham ataupun apa yang saya dah explain ataupun saya dah share, ada benda yang kurang jelas, so boleh je nak tanya saya through ni lah kat WhatsApp group ataupun boleh directly contact me. Okay. And for the second part of today's class, we will cover on part 2 of scaffolding, which is the other types of temporary structures. Okay. Okay. So this is basically the subtopics ataupun subcontext for the scaffolding. Similar to the previous one of formwork, we will cover on the overview. And at the end, we will cover more on the safety part ataupun dia punya hazard related to the scaffolding itself. Okay. As I mentioned just now, scaffolding is also the other types of temporary structures. And it will be used commonly used throughout the construction. Once we want to construct the building, maksudnya once the bangunan tu akan start dibina ataupun start naik, so we will for sure need this scaffolding. And for your information, and saya pun baru juga tahulah kan, this scaffolding has been used since the building of the pyramids. Okay, maksudnya dah zaman lah, dari zaman dulu dia dah menggunakan scaffolding. Cuma it may be varies in terms of the types, in terms of the material itself for the scaffolding. Okay, so the common types of scaffolding in terms of material, we have timber, bamboo, steel, galvanized metal, and also metal alloys. So this is the common types of scaffolding materials. And the main purpose of scaffolding is to provide working platform for the workers or mean of access to transport the material to the point of the construction works or activities. Okay. And then it is very essential to provide safe place which is incorporated safety features for workers and people passing underneath. Maksudnya penggunaan scaffolding kita kena consider any required safety features for the workers itself, for the workers themselves, and also for the workers yang ada perlu lalu dekat bawah ni. So kebanyakannya kalau untuk ketinggian yang ni bangunan yang tinggi, so maybe the workers need to wear the safety harness, and then we need to install the safety net so that all of the materials from the upper levels tak drop down, tak fall onto the lower level of this ataupun on the ground. So dia tak akan membahayakan people passing underneath. Okay. That's the overview for scaffolding. Okay, so we will cover on the types of scaffolding. Yang ni lebih kepada dia punya jenis in terms of dia punya penggunaan lah dan dia punya erection. Okay, first we have putlock ataupun dependent, tapi the familiar name kita akan panggil putlock lah. And then vice versa to this putlock, we have independent type. And then the third one mobile. Mobile selalunya dia lebih kurang dengan fixed frame. Dia lebih versus lah yang ni mobile, ni fixed frame. And then we have suspended or slung scaffolding. Yang kelima dah ni. And then the last one, cantilevered ataupun thrust out scaffolding. Okay, so basically these are the some types of scaffolding ataupun categories of scaffolding. Okay. Okay, so as usual ni adalah explanation lah for each of the scaffolding types. Okay, for the first one, putlock ni biasanya yang common types of scaffolding which will be erected outside the building perimeter, require less component as compared to the other one which is independent scaffold because it is partly supported by the building structure or wall. Nanti saya akan tunjuk gambar putlock ni sebab part of the scaffolding itself will be connected to the building ataupun structural wall, so that dia akan support lah dia punya building tu akan support scaffolding tu sendiri. Okay, dia punya main function is for constructing and repairing structures, and putlock ni dia act as a link between ledger extended to the building wall, and memang dia punya main function is to provide working platform, tapi untuk putlock biasanya dia single working platform. So nanti saya akan tunjuk gambar, so you all akan lagi clear. And this is some information regarding the maximum load and also maximum safe height for the putlock use. Okay, maximum load it's around 275 kilogram per meter square per area. Maksudnya dia punya maximum load. And this is the equal ataupun roughly equal to 140 bricks, 35 kilogram of mortar and 2 manpowers ataupun labor. Okay. Maximum safe height, kalau untuk guna putlock ni kita akan guna up to 30 meter building. Okay, ataupun 30 meter structure lah. This is the illustration ataupun figure for the putlock. This is macam saya dah mention tadi. Ni dia punya part of the structure putlock scaffolding. Ni kalau kita tengok kat sini dia ada connection. Maksudnya dia akan connect to the building itself ataupun structural itself. So dia tak ada, sebab tu dia tak independent sebab dia attached to the structure. Okay, in terms of load transfer ataupun load loading, dia memang attached to the structure. Okay, kalau kita tengok sini pun, ni dia punya external part lah, dia punya luaran. And then for the inner part, dia akan connect to the building. Selalunya kalau brick wall, dia akan connect to this. Okay, For the second one, in contrast to the putlock, we have independent type. Kalau ikutkan dia follow the same principle tapi dia lebih kepada freestanding or self-supporting structure. So that's why the name is independent. And it will independently support the load. Okay. Whole load of scaffold are carried to the foundation resting on the ground. So that dia punya frame scaffolding tu. So dia punya load transfer memang independently lah to the ground level. Okay. Tied to the construction and fitted with the diagonal braces to ensure stability. Lalu dia akan fitted to the ground and in order to ensure stability. Main function dia adalah provide multiple working platforms. As compared to the previous one, putlock. Okay, yang tadi single working platform, yang ni lebih kepada multiple. And it consists of several classification. Okay, yang sini dia ada 3 classification. The first one light duty, general duty, and then we have heavy duty. It depending on the design itself lah, design of the independent type scaffold. Okay, kalau light duty just one platform, sama jugalah single kat sini. Lepas tu dia ada maximum loading dia. And then for general duty, yang ni paling banyak lah dia punya platform. And then heavy duty, dia even it has 2 platform. However, it able to cater load for maximum loading of 290 kilogram per meter square. Okay, so these 3 are the main category ataupun types lah of independent scaffolding. Okay, that is the second one. Okay, sama juga macam yang ni kan. Kita boleh tengok terus perbezaan. Ni. Tadi kalau tengok dekat putlock, dia ada connection to the wall ataupun building ataupun structure itself. Kalau kat sini dia memang independent, dia tak attach. So no connection lah kat sini. Dia just independently standing beside the building. Okay. Alright. Ni contoh. Kalau mana-mana gambar yang saya share kat sini kurang clear ke apa, nanti you try to search for your own ni lah. For your own ataupun better figures. Okay. Alright. And then the third category is mobile. Mobile ni dia lebih kepada apa? Macam crane lah. Previously we have covered on mobile crane and static crane. So dia sama je. Mobile ni benda yang fleksibel dan boleh bergerak. So that's why it refers to self-contained unit. However, only one working platform of limited size. And kebanyakan mobile ni sebab dia bergerak, dia lebih kepada penggunaan untuk light load. Okay, mana-mana beban yang ringan. So it's suitable to use this kind of scaffolding. Okay, the main function is to provide platform for work requires frequent movement. Maksudnya mana-mana kerja yang memerlukan more movement. So we encourage to use this mobile scaffolding. Basically for maintenance, painting and finishing the interior ataupun exterior. Selalunya kalau painting lah, sebab painting kita banyak surface building tu. We need to move around the block ataupun move around the building. So it is better for us to use this mobile scaffolding. And we need to comply to the height limit of the mobile scaffolding. Okay. The tower height must not exceed 3 times of the shortest base dimension. Okay, so all of these ada dia punya safety factors lah, safety consideration. Kalau tak, sebab dia dah bergerak, so we need to comply to the high limit. Sebabnya nanti we try to avoid any ni lah collapse of the scaffolding. Okay. Sekejap kita ada soalan daripada Tan. Will ask us to draw the diagram of scaffold structure in test. Okay, so maksudnya ni soalan test So far kalau ikutkan saya tak finalize lagi, saya tak properly decide lagi. Tapi kemungkinan ada, tapi tak apa, no worries lah, sebab apa-apa saya akan share lah apa topik yang akan masuk, yang akan keluar nanti dekat apa, yang will be included in your test. So far saya tak finalize lagi on this part. Sebab sometimes scaffold punya topik pun dia ada juga akan cover dekat final exam. So nanti saya cuba ni lagi. Saya akan cuba perincikan lagi lah berkenaan soalan ni. Okey Tan, nanti saya update. Okey ke?
Fine.
Okey, alright.
Final, Doctor?
Ya.
How about
Siapa?
in final?
Apa tadi,
How
Kelvin?
about in final paper?
Oh, in final paper. Similar just now. Kalau soalan, contohnya soalan daripada Tan tadi kan. Contohnya dah keluar soalan berkenaan apa tadi, to draw the diagram in the test. Probably in final exam tak keluarlah soalan yang sama. So dia ada one lah. Sebab sometimes dia cover more on final exam. Scaffolding dekat soalan final exam. Okay? Okay, Kelvin? Nanti saya akan update. Boleh ke semua? Faham Okay, boleh Alright, so okay. So thanks apa tadi Tan and Kelvin for your question. Okay, anything regarding your questions for topics lah. Topics, takkanlah saya nak share question kan. Topics for your final exam and also topics for your test. I will try to update ni lah before accordingly lah berkenaan topik tu. Okay. Kejap. Next one. Oh, sorry. Sorry. Okay, this one. We stop until here. Mobile. So, we will continue to this still for mobile scaffolding. This is the figure and also the illustration for the mobile scaffolding. So, kat sini kalau kita tengok dia ada dia punya ni lah. Wheel ataupun dia punya roda kat sini kan. So, it is flexible and movable. Okay. So far, as long as you can differentiate the types of the scaffolding and able to recognize its main components ataupun dia punya ni lah, dia punya terms of parts of the scaffolding. So it is good lah so far. Kalau dah tahu macam tu pun dah okay. Sebab tak semestinya sampai kena lukis. Sebab kalau tak silap saya, based on the previous question ataupun previous final exam, there is a question which require you to label the parts of the scaffolding ataupun formwork. Okay. So you just need to recognize and remember the part. Okay. Okay, the next one we proceed to the, I think this is the fourth one. Yang jenis yang keempat, fixed frame. Okay, fixed frame, it's also easy for assemble and disassemble. And the main function for fixed frame is to provide strong and safe working platform because dia dah fixed to the ground. So we are able to provide strong and safe working platforms to the workers. And you also need to classify ataupun categorize the frame. It consists of two types of frame. The first one is the main frame and transverse frame. Dia punya main frame ni selalunya dia akan stronger lah ataupun bigger than the transverse frame because transverse frame is the secondary frame to support working platform and to hold the main frame. Okay. This is the classification of the frame for fixed frame. Okay, we will proceed to the steps to assembling the fixed frame. Okay, this is just a simple procedure lah atau step to assemble the fixed frame, starting from assemble the first row, base plate and vertical frame until we follow each of these steps because it quite simple ataupun ni je lah dia punya fixed frame ni, dia punya cara nak pasang ataupun assembling tu quite simple and easy. At the end, we need to check the overall stability. Okay. Yang penting mana-mana formwork, we need to check the overall stability before we put the before we proceed to construct the works. Macam sebelum workers ni climb to this level to do the works, we need to check all the safety factors. Okay, that's of the fixed frame. And the last two, we have a suspended scaffolding. Okay, suspended scaffolding ni dia lebih kepada, nanti saya tunjukkan gambar, dia hang down from an overhead structure, can be moved side to side ataupun raised lower or higher depending on the type. Okay, kalau kat sini we have 3 types: single point adjustable, 2 point swing stage and multi-level ataupun multi-stages. Okay, yang ni lebih kepada dia memang tergantung lah dia punya scaffolding, dia hanging on the structure itself. Ni contoh ya, dia punya ni suspended scaffolding. Okay, dia depend kepada jenis, dia can be moved from left to right, side to side, and also can be raised lower or at higher ni lah level. Okay, the last one for the type of scaffolding, we have cantilevered. Cantilevered ni dia lebih kepada separate scaffold built to the angle out from the structure. Dia kalau ikutkan cantilever ni macam cantilevered beam lah juga, dia terkeluar ataupun terjulur where the loads are transferred totally to the building. Sebab this kind of scaffolding will attach also to the building. Ties are inside windows opening and usually installed near to the balcony for ease of access. And the main function is to provide working platform for restricted space on the ground. So kalau dekat bawah tu kita ada limited space, kita tak ada proper space ataupun area to install the other types of scaffolding, so we will choose this type of scaffolding and high limit dia up to 12 meter. Okay, this is the example of the cantilevered. Maksudnya daripada bangunan ni dia ada bahagian yang terkeluar, so that's why it's being called as cantilevered. Okay, dia ni terkeluar from the building structure. Alright. Okay, so that's all for the types of scaffolding. So far okay semua? Dia boleh lagi ke?
Okay.
Boleh.
Boleh Sebab ni dah ya.
For the
Siapa?
first one, for the first scaffolding, which is footlock,
Okay.
how they solve the hole on the structure.
How macam mana? How they? Sekejap This one?
Yeah, the hole on the structure.
Maksudnya how it's being attached to the structure?
No, how they cover the hole. Lubang.
Cover je? Sorry. Cover what? Can you type your question, Kelvin?
Cover the lubang on the structure.
Lubang ni ke?
Kan ada lubang.
Okay.
How they solve it?
Okay, maksudnya after ni, after this scaffolding be removed ke?
Yeah.
Okay, selalunya as far as I concern lah, selalunya dia akan buat dekat any intended opening, ataupun kalau dia tak opening ni tak intend, dia akan do ni lah, dia akan macam buat satu orang panggil tampalan lah. Patch the area. Tapi depending on the design itself lah juga.
Maksudnya
Sebabnya
kosong.
apa?
Maksudnya kosong lah dekat isi dia. Bahagian tu.
Sebabnya dia kena ada ruang untuk insert the ni. Apa orang panggil dia punya put lock lah to the structure. So ni sebabnya dia depends on the design itself. Kalau dah dari awal dia perlu menggunakan put lock, and then they need to consider this kind of ni lah construction. Okay. Okay ke Kelvin?
Okay.
Alright. Okay, thank you. Alright, welcome. Okay, so mana dah tadi next one? Okay. Ini up to the types of the scaffolding. So hopefully all of you can differentiate the different types of this scaffolding and try to ni lah go through one by one and recognize ataupun identify each of the ni components for this scaffolding. Okay, the next one I will share on the parts and term. Yang ni yang saya dah ada mention tadi kan. Dia ada several names ataupun terms lah for each of the scaffolding components. So basically these are the common terms. First we have here we have a standard, ledger, put lock, base plate, sew plate and so on. So yang ni saya rasa ada sambungan. Okay, sampai ke ladder. So maksud saya kat sini adalah you need to recognize kat mana each of these parts of term dekat scaffolding tu. Sebab macam tadi siapa dah tanya saya Tan dan juga ni kan berkenaan soalan test dan exam. Previously memang ada soalan yang tanya berkenaan ni parts and terms of scaffolding which require you to label. Okay, to label this part to the given figure. Okay, so try to do self revision and try to go through one by one and able to differentiate these different parts and terms of the scaffolding. Okay, so saya rasa tak perlulah saya baca satu-satu Okay, this is also continuation for the next parts and terms. After that we have materials for scaffolding. Yang ni lebih kepada dia punya specification lah. Okay, the first one berkenaan quality for steel tube and coupler. It need to conform to specification. Okay, kat sini dia punya specification adalah ataupun dia punya standard need to comply to BS 1139 part 1. Okay, for the steel tube and coupler. And then dia juga kat sini given that regarding dia punya diameter, thickness ataupun dia punya weight for black steel tube, galvanized steel tube, and then you have aluminium alloy tube. Berapa dari segi dia punya ni lah thickness, dia ada some difference between these two type of steel tube. And then for the kalau nak menggunakan kayu ataupun timber, at least guna ni kayu kerwing ataupun ada wood of equal or higher strength. Okay, we need to ensure adequate strength so that the scaffolding are able to resist ataupun cater the load in order to avoid any failure. Okay. Sama juga mangrove or bamboo, tapi saya rasa kat tempat kita kebanyakan sekarang kita dah go for steel ni lah, steel scaffolding instead of timber and also bamboo. Oh sorry. And then regarding its working platform, we need to consider the thickness, width and also the length. And the other thing is that for the mechanical properties, it should conform to required strength for tensile, yield and elongation. Okay. These are the basic requirements regarding the materials for scaffolding. Okay, the next one. Okay, similar to the previous temporary structure formwork, scaffolding also have its own safety features ataupun safety measures that we need to consider ataupun kita punya ni lah, kita perlu apa, kita perlu concern dan take it into consideration. Okay, the main reference for scaffolding we can refer to MS ataupun Malaysia Standard 426/94 Code of Practice for Safety and Health. Okay, and any equivalent ni lah, equivalent Code of Practice ataupun standard we can refer to. Okay. So according to this standard, we need to use adequate strength of material. So dia punya apa safety measures ni banyak yang dah kita apa lebih kurang yang dah apa yang kita dah discuss sebelum ni based on the previous slides. Okay. We need to design the load with safety factor of at least 4, fix all part properly, and so on lah kat sini. All of this need to be considered and need to be conducted in order to ensure that it is properly safe and strong for the scaffolding to be used. Okay. Sama juga in terms of erection, kita kena ada apa inspect erection by certified person and then conduct inspection of scaffolding, especially after the rough weather. Contohnya baru apa selepas musim hujan ke apa, sebelum kita proceed with the construction activities ataupun any works lah that we need to carry out, we need prior to that we need to do the inspection ataupun test of the scaffold stability. Maksudnya kita tak boleh terus menggunakan scaffold yang dah exposed to the rough weather. Maybe dia punya connection ke dah ada loose ataupun dia punya ties tu dah loose, so that one we need to consider. Okay. Alright, so I think after safety measures we will cover this actually the last part ataupun last subtopic lah for this for our class today's I think. Oh, sorry. Okay, scaffolding hazard. Okay, kat sini I would like to share some of the ni lah potential hazard related to the scaffolding. Okay, according to the first picture, we can see that this picture shows insecure plan ataupun dia punya sheet lah kat sini, dia punya platform which is quite insecure, and then sepatutnya kalau scaffolding ni should be installed with rail ataupun guard rail and toe board. Toe board ni selalunya dekat bawah ni, dia depending lah juga, tapi it should be installed lah sebab toe board ni will avoid any falling material to the edges of the platform. And then the gap between scaffold and wall exceeded 300 mm. Maksudnya it can be a hazard for the scaffold ni accident atau failure. Sepatutnya dia lagi dekat sini. Okay. And then for the second figure, kalau kita tengok scaffold ni dia punya erection is too close to the power lines. So untuk practical actual implementation atau practical, we try to avoid installation of scaffold close to the power lines sebab kita nak avoid any ni lah electric shock ataupun apa-apa potential yang berkenaan dengan power lines yang relate to this power line. We try to avoid any potential hazard relates to this power lines. Okay, so that's why ni bukan apa yang saya tunjuk ni not a good practice lah, dia punya hazard. Okay, the third one, kalau kita tengok kat sini dia lebih kepada stability of this scaffolding itself. So kita dapat tengok this one is unstable scaffold because it is being loaded with the blocks ataupun dia punya ni lah materials on site. So it dia dah sengit dan it tends to collapse. And then kebiasaannya benda ni akan berlaku juga kalau erection on uneven surface without base plate. Okay. Kat bawah ni patutnya dia ada dia punya supporting base plate and also seal to ni lah to cater the load and also to transfer the load to the ground. Okay. And then dia ada example of scaffolding hazards. We have this. Dah, kejap ya. Okay, ni pun similar to the previous one. Kalau kita tengok kat sini, poor foundation of the scaffolding because it is erected on top of scrap wood. Kat bawah ni kalau kita tengok ada kayu-kayu scrap wood and unstable cement block. Patutnya dia kena ada stable ni lah, stable base plate so that all of these upper part of the load will be transferred properly to the ground. So kalau dia punya foundation ataupun dia punya base pun dah tak stable, so it will affect the whole scaffolding structure ataupun frame. Okay, that one related to the poor foundation. And then this one is lack of planking to support load. Kalau kita tengok kat sini dekat scaffolding ni just ada dua board je lah, timber board, which is not sufficient to cover the load. Kalau kita tengok sini dia ada letak sini butter kalau tak silap. Brick dia dah kumpul kat atas ni, letak kat atas ni on the only two planking board which is not sufficient. Okay, and then loads are not uniformly distributed on the platform. Okay, dia letak dekat sini je, maksudnya dekat at one point dia tak distribute along the ni sebab dia tak cukup dia punya base tu kan, dia punya platform. So untuk improve the condition, dia sepatutnya ada ni lah extra ataupun more planking ataupun more platform to be installed on this scaffolding. Okay. Okay, for the last figure we can see that there is opening or gap between the planks which is exceeded 25 mm. Kalau ikutkan specification, the gap should be less than 25 mm. Okay. So kalau dia punya gap tu greater ataupun lagi besar, tendency for the material ataupun any tools to drop down ataupun fall down is quite higher lah. Nanti ada apa-apa material ke apa-apa tools ke atas ni akan jatuh ke bawah lah kalau dia punya gap terlalu besar. Okay, saya rasa tu je for today. Is there any? Sekejap ni. Okay, tak ada dah. Okay, dah habis. So far okay ke? Boleh faham ke today's topic on temporary structures?
Faham doktor.
Faham Okay, so macam tadilah, ada apa-apa nak tanya ke boleh ni lah tanya later on. Okay, thank you semua. Okay, before we end our class, please scan your attendance. Okay, for your record lah. Kejap kejap. Kat sini ada Syed ke? Syed Nakiuddin. Ada tak hari ni?
Saya.
Okay, jap. Saya just nak double confirm on your ni lah subject registration for this subject. Dah settle ke?
Oh, saya punya PA tak balas lagi WhatsApp saya. Maybe dia busy kot.
Oh, ya ke?
Saya ada try contact dia. Tak apa. Petang ni saya try call dia.
Tapi ni lah awak try ni lah settle as soon as possible lah sebab ni dah minggu kelima.
Ya tu betul.
Sebab
Okay.
betul. In my record belum ada lah nama awak. So saya tak.
Nanti saya check.
Alright.
Okay, alright. Sorry Doktor.
Okay. Tak apa. It's okay. Sebab saya risau nantilah awak susah nak ambil final exam ke apa kan. Tu je. Okay. Apart from that, saya rasa dah tak ada in terms of attendance pun okay. So, sekejap before we end our class, so please scan your attendance record. And please scan this QR code for your attendance record. And with that, I think that's all for today. Thank you for your participation and hope to see you again next week. Okay. Thank you and Assalamualaikum.